Truth never dies when the world is calling you. Can you hear it rising through the lies? Truth never dies. It becomes a part of you. Every time you fight for what is real, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when the shadows grow long and the deceit runs strong. Truth never dies when the world is calling you. Can you hear it screaming out your name? Truth never dies. It becomes a part of you. Every time you bleed for speaking greatness, relentless, you survive. When the world is calling out your name, begging you to fall, pick yourself up once more. Pick yourself apart. Truth never dies when the world is calling you. Can you hear it screaming out your name? Truth never dies. It becomes a part of you. Every time you bleed for speaking greatness, truth never dies. Truth never dies when the world is calling you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Moment of Truth podcast. Never seen 17 for the episode. As we get into more details here, more exposing, and definitely some more info for you guys. Now, before we enter the bricks, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce a man that has helped me not only expose these class clown of goons, but also helped me get rid of most of the toxicity that was surrounded by these same old goons. So we're going to go with this episode here. I hope you got, like I said, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is going to be a good episode. Stick around. And definitely, like I said, you want to stick around for this because, you know, we're going to throw some truth bombs here in this episode that I feel like that needs to be discussed here on the episode 17 of this podcast. And welcoming at this time the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Chaotic. But also, before we switch over to DJ Chaotic to give him an introduction, I got to switch the background. So DJ, go ahead and give your introduction as we get this thing started.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? What up, ladies and gentlemen? DJ Chaotic is in the building. But I think we finally cracked the code with this whole outlook with these individuals that we're about to mention here, because we got some very spicy details here to give the people.
Not only the fake accounts making fake accusations, and then, you know, having the nerve to literally get somebody on a basically what I'm trying to say is you have the nerve to literally try to persuade one of our friends here to do what you think you could have done.
And the funny thing about this is we don't even have to mention name. We gonna mention the name soon. But at the end of the day, how are you sitting up here basically defending these individuals from accusations and truth that we have on them, documented and all, but you are defending them out of spite? I wonder who this could be.
You know, much respect goes out to Kevin Impact here on the Moment of Truth, because I heard what he had to say on your podcast, DJ. Much respect goes out to you too. Much love.
And if you missed it, ladies and gentlemen, I would strongly suggest going on the KSN Network podcast channel. Link will be provided below, or CJ will share it in his story to go listen to that episode. Much vital information to be said.
But here's the problem of this whole scenario. First, you had to make a fake account of me, find an old man penis picture that you had to use. You couldn't get my real identical penis because I know what my penis looks like. It's not that shriveled, looked like it went through the meat grinder. Second of all, you tried to frame me like I sent it out to a 15-year-old girl. I'm not that stupid, first of all. But thank you for showing me your true colors, because now it's in context with my lawyer. So whoever you are, I hope you rot in jail for the shit that you tried to pull on me, because it's going to happen. In other words, I believe my papa used to say this all the time. You done the crime, now you pay the time. I guess you're going to jail for what they call is perjury and false identity. Somewhere in that category with false identity.
Right.
But here's the thing, Jade, Holly. You two love to mention me more times than you can ever respond back or talk to me. And you know the reason why you can't talk to me no more is because you're blocked, because I don't have time to deal with your stupidity. I don't have time to deal with pedophiles. I don't have time to deal with stupid people that literally are not worth my time. I'm hanging around people that actually care about me as a friend. I'm hanging around people that actually wants to see me do good in life. I'm tired of hanging around these people that's negative, that's always bringing me down. You know, DDP, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, he had this on Facebook not too long ago. Maybe it was like a month or 2 months ago. He said, find you somebody that you can hang around with that is going to be there for you, that's going to help you prosper and grow. You don't want to stick with those people that literally, in other words, he put it in a mode of like, I'm going to make it simplified here on the Moment of Truth, is basically be around people that's going to build you up and not tear you down. And that's what I'm going to say right here. I mean, I'm pretty sure Kevin Impact will agree with me, as well as Ron Storm. I'll let them do it in the comment section. But that's how you actually win friends. That's how you build friendships. You build them up. You don't tear them down like you guys are doing. I mean, Jesus Christ, should I go on about what I've been seeing lately? I mean, my mind is just, I'm
mind blown as well as you. I mean, hey, don't feel bad. I'm in the same situation, same position as how you're feeling.
I mean,
with this whole information.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to talk bad about people, but at the same time, when you, and I'm not going to name, you know, them individually, but they know who they are when I name this. When you try to screw me, especially a promo that I did that was one of the best promos of all time that I put my time into, working and practicing, you know, practicing by going to mirrors and, you know, doing stuff that, you know, make this promo look good for your show, right? So when I finally put that in the excellence of my performance, what did one individual do on your show, which was a commentator, that pretty much looked over that promo like, I was pretty much lower class. That's the reason why that I don't really want to return or come back. I'm not going to say your name. You know who you are. I'm just going to leave it at that. To show professionalism, not, yelling
Right.
at the mic, not trying to, be at my, all badass level is what they call it. Being like I'm a tough guy behind the keyboard. No, I'm not all about that life. But here's the thing that I'm going to say. Like, here's the problem in the call community that I'm going to just plainly lay out on the table. There's a bunch of people that will act like your friend, but when the truth comes to shove, they will stab you in the back, and they don't even. I mean, this is me being honest and letting you guys know everything that you need to know about how the call community works, EFED, WWE2K community works. Is this: you got people that are so full-headed of their egos, they cannot stand somebody being successful. If somebody is successful, they are pretty much acting like a fucking kid, and I'm going to sound like I'm a Jim Cornette of the fucking call community, but fuck it, we already went there. Sounds like they want to try to get a 2K game, try to book it at a fucking flea market, and try to run a goddamn flea market and try to build a goddamn flea market in the WWE game. Like, Jesus Christ, I mean, fuck, I could probably call Vince Russo and fucking Jim Cornette on this podcast. Let these two motherfuckers go at it more entertaining than these motherfuckers. I mean, fuck, it'd be like Dr. Phil, it'd be Dr. CJ right on there. Today's episode, we got, Jim Cornette. On the other side, we got Vince Russo. Holy shit, here they go. Let them go at it. Next thing that's what I'm trying to get at, guys. It's like that, you guys can't think IQ and character level, and it's always got to literally, somebody's got to have this hard head and a soft ass and literally think, oh, since, he's doing this, let me get back at him and do this. It's like you're throwing punches at a wall. I mean, it's not going to hurt that individual of a call promoter, and it's neither going to hurt the other individual. The only person that it's hurting is your product, because people's not going to come by and they ain't going to be around bad people that, going back to this, DJ, I'm pretty sure that this is the God's honest truth, what, I've been told as a kid growing up, in the hills of Kentucky. It's like, going out into a fruit tree, like you picking an apple tree. You pick you a good apple, you can eat it, right? But if you pick a bad apple, then not only you're going to get, maybe the bad taste, but you're also going to realize, hey, I need to do something either, with this fruit or with this one bad apple, that it's going to affect my other good fruits. That's what I'm trying to say about the call community. You guys got to separate these bad people from the good people, because these bad people are influencers. They will fuck you over, and they won't give a damn about who they screwed, about who they lied to, who they made a fake accounts to. It's always about
it's a cutthroat world.
It's jealousy. It's pure fucking jealousy, because here's the thing about it. It goes back to, for example, I use Kevin Impact, for example, and I know he's watching the show. I'm going to use him, for example. That'd be like me seeing JTV gets 500 views, and that'd be like me getting jealous as another call promoter and be like, oh, I don't like that show. He's doing better than me. Let's see if I could screw him. What that's going to cause is not only you're showing yourself now as you're jealous, but at the same time, you're showing yourself as you are envying because somebody's successful, and you cannot stand the fact that somebody's more successful than you, maybe on some errors of editing, booking, whatever the case may be. You are so jealous at the point that now you want to try to get back at people because of bullshit, because of drama, because of, hatred, because of you can't do better than that other person. And it's all bullshit. life's too short to hold grudges. Life's too short to just be, little kids throwing you temper tantrums. I'm going to quote something John Cena would say. Y'all act like a bunch of kids. Now I want this. Now I want that. Now I want this. Y'all act like a bunch of fucking kids. I mean, grow up. Notice it's, call, which means you create a wrestler. You're not really a wrestler. You bring that wrestler to life. We get out of, we do call to get out of the reality of this world, because this world is so daggone ugly. It is not good. And I'm just speaking the 100% facts. If people get mad, if people get pissed off, hey, that's you. At the end of the day, I can sleep better. At the end of the day, I can know deep down in my heart that I've done something right here on the Moment of Truth, because I'm seeing good friends thrown to waste over something that can be fixed over one solution.
Exactly.
It's simple. Just listen to detail when a friend's trying to tell you something, instead of just doing whatever the fuck you want, because that is the problem with the call community. They don't listen to true friendships. It's more about them being greedy and them being downright hard-headed, that their ass is soft. And it's sad to say that you got a bunch of people literally in the call community, and I could go on, I could make this a whole hour of me talking about how negative people are. But the same thing as well is this. You got people, for example, that'd be like me winning the JTV World Championship, and you got a guy like, I don't know, we use Mark, for example. Since he's in the chat, since he commented, that'd be like Mark saying, going back and telling J Kid, oh, I think you need to fire CJ because he did this and then that. And then when, J Kid gets the evidence, or, Kevin Impact gets the evidence, it's like, where's the proof? What did he do to physically do anything to you or say anything to you that I got to remove the title and him off my show? That's the problem I'm seeing in the community. It's all about words and not actual proof. It's all about stabbing somebody in the back for personal gain, which you're not going to gain anything out of it. It's pretty much just, almost like WWE. If you got politics, you can kiss somebody's ass and you're right in the door. That right there is one of my biggest pet peeves. And I'm going off on a rant here, and I know there's 10 people watching, good, because truth needs to be said here on the Moment of Truth. I've sat back and let this eat at me for the narrative, and I promise I'll let DJ speak, because I know he's got a lot to say about this topic, but I'm trying to get everything off out of my mind and get my mind refreshed on everything I've seen lately. And to me, it's just downright ugly seeing this in call, and it's not good for call. I mean, if you was a real wrestler and done this shit, I can guarantee you would probably be fighting somebody in the parking lot by now. I mean, I'm being straight up honest.
That's why it goes inside. No bull. No lies detected.
Especially if you made a fake account about them, and they know that you made a fake account about them, and they find out that what do you think is going to happen? Let's say, for example, okay, let's say if you make a fake account of John Cena, for example. I'll use John Cena, for example.
Right.
Make a fake account, maybe a fake Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And you're basically, impersonating them. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think the outcome's going to be? You're impersonating somebody that pretty much is not you. So now you're making it a criminal instead of a video game. It is weirdo. I'll give Nutty-O Gaming here, and I'll make this right here. It is a weirdo activity. You're a weirdo. Straight up weirdo. Like, I believe that you're so jealous of me because I've had success finally in my life. Thea Hale spoke on this, and much shout out to NXT superstar for Thea Hale for speaking out on the hatred of professional wrestling. But I'm going to be the Thea Hale of the EFED world, the hatred on EFED wrestling. I mean, for the dear love of God, you guys post on social media and you talk negative about a human being and you don't think about what's going to be the repercussions of your actions, whether you post on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., and you sit there for years trying to tear somebody down rather than build somebody up.
Facts.
And the sad part is this. I'm just being real. I'm theoretically speaking here. The sad part is this. The sad part is what happens when those good call creators leave call? What happens when the good people leave? Call's going to go to shit. It's not going to be nothing of it. It's going to be like a crumble building with nothing but stones. And there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about here on this podcast that personally, you know, going back to Thea Hell, what she said about the hate in professional wrestling, the same thing applies for EFED. You know, you got a bunch of people that, you know, wants to talk shit on social media, put people down. These same people are trying to impersonate somebody like me, trying to blame me for something that I know deep down, God knows deep down, I don't do. So, first of all, you best check yourself before you wreck yourself, because I'm not going to be the one going to jail. That is going to be on you. In other words, in the words of Dan Housing, you are cursed. You are jailed, in other words. Now, I know DJ's got a lot to say. I've said what I had to say here for, you know, almost 10 minutes, 20 minutes at least. So I'm going to turn it over to DJ. DJ, you have the floor. You say whatever you want and let the truth be heard.
No. Where do I begin with this whole scenario? Outside of Jade and her cronies, we got to talk about the biggest crony of them all. One name that we all know all too well, a man that literally stood up at these individuals, none other than Aaron O'Connell. I mean, my guy, what was you thinking? You saw all the evidence pop up in the chat, but you didn't want to believe nothing said in the chat. You kept defending the girl who you obviously thought was in the wrong, was innocent. But she's not innocent, my guy. At the same time, you sit here and you was throwing all these things to you, to this other person, to this person, but you wasn't listening to the dang on facts. And the facts was all being thrown right at your fingertips. But yet you decided to defend these individuals that felt like they were untouchable, but at the same time, they could be touched. At the same time, you are defending underage kids doing all this stuff, yet you don't believe it. The proof is right there for you to see. Fake accounts, accusations that were false, everything. Yet, this is what you stand on. I thought the EFED community was supposed to be something of value, something of interest, something of fun. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what fun is there when you have these toxic-minded individuals like this that want to keep doing what they do? I don't see it. I don't appreciate it, and I don't condone it. I said in my show on multiple occasions, you got to bring facts to get validated. And this person never brought the facts to get validated. That same validation goes in volumes with IRL. If you can't be real, then why are you sitting up here being a fraud? You show your true intentions before they're even dealt.
I mean, I believe Ice Cube, one of my favorite actors on the movie Friday, he says this at best, and he wrote a rap song. It says, "Jiggity, check yourself before you wreck yourself." Maybe a lot of you call creators need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because your actions is bad for your health. That's the only thing I'm saying, but continue, DJ.
Yeah, so even though y'all sit here thinking that y'all are in the clear, y'all ain't do no wrong, whatever the case may be, never mind all that. At the same time, you know you did wrong. You know you are guilty by association. At the same time, your whole protector is guilty by association because he defended y'all. So how does that add up for y'all when you can't even see through what y'all did? I mean, let's be perfectly clear and honest here. You are sitting up here defending underage kids that did wrong. At the same time, what are you doing to rectify the situation? Nothing. But if you want to be in the position you're in, you're guilty by association with them.
You know, going back on a subject here, DJ, I'm pretty sure that you and Kevin Impact and the rest of you guys can agree here in the chat. To me, I kind of feel like that I left an important piece out on this too. Not only it's jealousy, but I believe it's has to do with competition too. And let me explain that more. Let me elaborate more better on it so you guys can understand. First of all, it's like, you know, me owning the company. Let's say if it's called Smoky Mountain Wrestling and DJ owns, you know, Tennessee Championship Wrestling or something like that. And it gets to a point where you got people's wrestlers spying on people's other shows. It's a back and forth thing where they keep on spying and just playing this child shit of, oh, let's see what we could do to damage this show, or let's see what we could do to damage this show. You're not going to win anything by it. I mean, why the fuck are you stupid enough to even pull that shit out of your ass? I mean, the only thing you're going to do, to me, is piss a lot of people off to where when they do find out that you're pretty much going to be off of every show. If you definitely want to be in the call community, of course, you're going to pretty much screw your chances of even making it halfway decent of your call career. And you pretty much are going to get blacklisted on every other source of companies out there. And, you know, going back to what you're saying, DJ, I really think that some of these call creators, they don't really use their head a lot. And I'm not talking about their head that, you know, they used, you know, for being a pedo, not the below head. I'm talking about your brain dimwads.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is this: I may get hated because I call people out on their bullshit. I may get hated because I pretty much speak truth, and sometimes truth hurts. And to me, you know, I kind of feel like that. You know, sometimes you got to think before you speak. Sometimes you got to think before you type. Sometimes you definitely got to think before you type and definitely put it on social media. And, you know, sometimes people's actions don't really evaluate their performance. And what I mean by that is sometimes your actions don't follow your deeds. You talk about it, but it don't really add up with your deeds. If that makes sense. But continue.
Right.
Sorry for interrupting you there, but continue, brother.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right on what you said, because in my opinion, and this is my perception on this whole thing, everybody may not see this 100% honestly or truthfully, but at the same time, I said to myself this: what if this was your own kid or your own niece or nephew that pulled off this whole outlook? How would you feel as the parent knowing that you're letting an underage kid be on social media around grown adults, people? And honestly, do you really want to have that on your conscience, that your son or daughter who's underage is talking to adults the way that they did? Like, you're like my mom and dad used to tell me, stay out of grown folks' business. At the same time, this is what happens. You're in grown folks' business. And that same grown folks' business could wind up getting your ass whipped. Which is what these two individuals need. A severe ass whooping. Something that'll get them taught respect. Because what I'm noticing when we did that conversation with them, there was no respect in there. None. So how do we validate this as a whole is we got to go to the proper authorities to make it validated. This is why we document everything. This is why we set the standard in the e-ped industry so that all these other e-peds know who these individuals are and what they did.
Well, it's going back to what you was talking about earlier, and you brought up a good point on this topic. And you know, in a previous podcast that I brought Kevin Impact in, he brought up a thing too that I want to mention, that you know, sometimes you got to say no and put your foot down. In other words, sometimes some of these people, I 100% agree with Kevin Impact. Some of these people do not need to be called promoters. If they can't put their foot down and stop the pedos from entering the companies, they need to put their foot down. They need to cancel, you know, they need to shut down the companies, whatever they need to do. I agree with Kevin Impact on that statement because I feel like they would make
I agree with you 110% too.
But at the same time, here's what I'm thinking too. If you have kids and watching, you know, the moment of truth, I want to make sure and clarify also that we do not support, nor do we condone pedophiles or anything to do with that. So your kids are more than welcome to come in and listen to podcasts with a parent or guardian.
Big facts.
So I'm going to make that clear as day here on this podcast. But before I give DJ the mic back, and sorry for interrupting again, I'm going to also introduce somebody here on this Moment of Truth talk show. And ladies and gentlemen, this man's got a lot of stuff he wants to say. And I hope Kevin Impact's ready and you guys are ready too, because I'm about to bring in the storm, and he's got a lot of storm bombs he wants to say. The one and only Ryan Storm has entered the Moment of Truth.
Well, I think you better finish up what you gotta say, DJ. I'll let you do that.
So before Ryan gets started with the whole outlook of what's going on here, I'm just gonna put this in perspective for everybody to know. Be careful what you do in this car industry. You don't know who out here is personally got a vendetta, who's going to attack you, who's going to show their true intentions. Because what we witnessed in this incident that we just took care of is individuals like to personally attack you for no reason without having the full story or proving their side of it. At the same time, how do you prove something by showing stuff that's already been mentioned? You know what I mean? It's like you fabricate a story, but it's not adding up. But Ryan, you can go ahead and do what you got to do.
Well, I mean, with these individuals, you gotta watch what you say, or otherwise, if you're caught going against them, well, you'll probably get reported and off Facebook Messenger for how many days? 3, 7, like I am right now.
You know, this is actually a good topic. You brought that up, Ron. What do you guys think in the chat about people that reports accounts because somebody's speaking truth on them, and they get that person banned to 3 to 7 days where they can't comment or do audios or promos or any of that? What do you guys think of that? Let me know in the comments. But Ron, you got the floor, brother.
Because what happened was, okay, I got taken off or suspended for 3 days. And then within that same day, it was short-lived. And then I get marked for 7, and I'm like, what? No. And then I get marked for 7. And I'm still on that. But it's like, really? You might as well block them and not talk to them. You can't talk to these people. You can't reason with them because they always think they're going to be right.
True indeed.
I mean, I think we've dealt with them long enough, DJ and CJ. I think we just want to be done with them and not look back, huh?
Exactly. Close the chapter and seal it shut.
Right. And what Ricky did to, KD and myself, nobody needs that. Nobody deserves that. But yeah, CJ, you had a lot of truth of what was behind everything too. So did you, DJ.
At the same time, Ryan, I will say this, and
Here's
this
the thing
is
that Mark said before DJ gets that out, because I got to put Mark's comments so Ron can see this. But here's what Mark said, Ron. He said that's stupid, really, getting suspended for speaking the truth. And I agree with Mark, but continue, DJ.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mark.
You with that 110%. At the end of the day, it's almost like nobody has a voice in these chats. Like some of these chats, you got a voice and that you can let stuff be known. But some people, they be so in they mode when they're putting all this stuff out there. But at the same time, I didn't break this down efficiently on my end when I was with Kevin Impact on my episode, but I'm gonna break it down here. There's a time and place for everything. Time and place for a joke, and there's a time and place to get serious. In that moment, I felt like jokes was there for an appropriate time. Don't get me wrong, CJ or Ryan. But at the same time, you got to know when to cut it off.
Exactly. It's like what Kevin Impact said. You got to know when to quit. Or as my uncle once put it, you've got to know when.
He edged it on enough as he was feeding into KD and getting him irritated. At the same time, he turned to you and got you irritated in that same moment.
Yeah, except for the difference was I kept on getting at him. KD did not. And Ricky didn't like that. And it's like what my uncle always told me. And he's true about this because he's been around the block. And I think you two, as much as Kevin Impact would, and all you guys, people in the chat would think of it this too, if you're watching, knowing when to say when.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, there's a time and place for everything. And in the moment,
didn't know when to say when.
It's almost like you had to know when I eliminated Jade and Holly and everybody associated with the incident. Like you should have known that most of this stuff was not going to be efficient in a time of need. I say that for a reason. Because how many times are you going to sit there and allow the same old shit to happen in your chats before you step up and say enough's enough?
Because there was things that he was joking with I didn't want in my career, period. And I told him that, and he knew that, but he kept on thinking, oh, the more you say something about it, it antagonizes me to continue. No.
But at the same time, Ryan, I said this in my show. There's a time and place for everything, but also at the same time, this is your biggest talented person on the roster. and you're belittling them and treating them like shit, joking with them. But at the same time, you gotta ask yourself this question: when are you gonna take it upon yourself to slow down that momentum and say sorry for everything you've done? Because he just kicked you out for no apparent reason. But at the same time, you gotta ask yourself this question: why would he kick you out if you were a champion on his show? That's you can't
Well,
remove somebody if they're physically a champion. That's almost like saying CJ will kick out a champion for no reason out of spite. Like, no, he's not going to do that out of spite.
Nope. In other words, they have to do something terribly wrong for me to kick them out.
which I did nothing
Exactly.
wrong.
And so, on the flip side of this, you got to know that the information is given is kind of accurate to everything going on.
And when he was mad at me,
There's a lot of favoritism in the e-fed industry, and that very same favoritism would backfire on any e-fed owner, including myself, CJ, whoever else is the actual owner that knows these rules.
well, and here's another thing that I didn't like that Ricky did is when he was mad and pissed at me, he made me pay for it by sending me out of every e-fed I helped build that was more than I helped build than himself. That wasn't fair.
Right. It's like he just went on high, getting rid of you out of chats, and I'm like this, like, if Ryan didn't do nothing wrong in my chat, what's the point of him deleting him?
And
if
I
you
heard,
didn't come to myself or you didn't come to Austin Ace Carter for his approval to remove.
and the thing
You
I
just
said
remove
to,
people for no odd reason.
actually, the thing I heard Ricky say to somebody, and I think it was CJ or somebody that told me this, Ricky got to the point that if I was in a chat with him involved in it, that he says, it's either he goes or I go.
And I remember that because I was in the chat, I was in the Call United chat when it happened. Nick, shout out to you for standing up for Ryan at the time. But at the same time, I said to myself, Ricky is just being Ricky. I mean, why are you being this oddball piece showing your ass off for the fact of what reason?
And I'll bring this up. Now, Kevin Impact, he didn't bring this up, but I'm going to bring this up anyways. One night, when Nick was trying to help me, I wasn't sure if Nick was going to do any good or not, and he failed. That night in that chat, Ricky went on and on and on and on until Nick took me out of that chat. And after I said enough was enough, Ricky, and I called him out and said, you're the one that's getting all bent out of shape because I'm here. And Ricky could not take me calling him out like that. That he was getting bent all out of shape. And first of all, he was bent all out of shape and he wouldn't have admitted it at that time that he was getting all bent out of shape because I couldn't take a joke.
And
I told him I was uncomfortable and asked him to stop.
Here's the thing about it, Ryan. I'm gonna say this: it's like you could take a joke, but at what extent was your breaking point before you broke down? That's the thing. And another thing to this is Ricky had to kept it going. He kept going with 2. He kept going with KD. And the fact of the matter is, I was sitting back looking at this, saying to myself, at some point, you got to fall back from using the same material over and over again. Bring something new to the table. But in that moment, I feel like there is literally endless possibilities that could have made that resolve more easier, only if he went and talked to you personally by yourself.
Which
At the
Ricky
same time,
fails to do that every damn time. Even when I
it's
try
like
to
if
talk
you
to him about
message him
something, he
and ask him
fails.
something, it's like, okay, he may respond back to you, but it takes a while for him to get everything out there. Like,
Because there were times I've told him I didn't want something in my added to my career in that, and still
I'll say
he
this:
failed to acknowledge
if
that.
you value and appreciate your roster enough, you'll learn how to respect your top tier guys in the long run. But at the same time, you got to be more lenient when it comes down to certain things.
Because
Like
everything
everything
I've told him, I was right down to
all
the point.
sunshine and rainbows. You know?
Well, it's kind of hard to deal with a guy when you're talking to him about something and you're telling him something and you're getting right down to the point and he doesn't get it and it goes over his fucking head. Or he just doesn't listen to you. It goes in one ear and out the other. It's kind of tough to tell somebody something with meaning and point when it goes in one of his ears and out the other ear of his. That's the thing I got with Ricky. Sometimes I feel like every time I tell him something, it goes in and one out, in one ear and out the other one. It's like that's the way he's being right now, and I can figure that pattern out right now. But I don't know if you guys have noticed it.
Like, here's the thing, Ryan, and I'm gonna tell you this right now, and I think me and CJ firsthand see the pattern unfold with Ricky the moment he removed us as admin and the podcast that he did, so on and so forth, and it all stemmed up, you know? It all kind of made a perfect sense in perspective because I was like, who tells a man or tells someone, fuck you and fuck everyone in literal context in the video, saying that you saying that meant that you didn't give two fucks about the partnership, the people you met in the partnership, or value what your show would stand on at that time. Let's be real, Ryan and CJ. Those three things right there should be a top priority measure for any E-Fed owner. Sometimes you have to stand on business and say, fuck the critics, fuck the naysayers, and fuck the doubters that you had in your ear. At the same time, validate your roster with who you have and fuck the. And then if you say you got blacklisted names, those blacklisted names should be permanent.
Now,
Am I wrong?
here's the thing I want to get on topic about. This partnership was supposed to be about brotherhood and respect, but at the same time, you brought this up in the podcast. I want to clarify with you on it, or not clarify, but I want to ask you what made you say this. I want your explanation on this. When you said you kind of feel like it was like a smack to the face, sort of, when he left the chat, I want you to explain that a little bit better.
when I say it was a smack in the face to us, I mean this wholeheartedly in general. Let's just put it to you like this. You put in your valid proof, your effort, all that hard work you did, all the times you was in chats, everything you stood for, you helped things calm down, all that stuff. It'll be a huge smack in the face for all the hard work you done in that Fed, for all the stuff we did behind the scenes for that Fed, to be treated in that sense of the way. The letting go admin thing was not justifiable because you didn't have no explanation, you didn't have no reasoning, you didn't clarify what was the whole point of that whole outlook. You just kicked us to the curb. Like, okay, we was a part of your team as whatever he made us to be. At the same time, you're going to go and listen to outside sources because that was the way you wanted to move? Nah, you don't move that way. If we are brothers and we are partners, right, CJ? You're supposed to be more in sync with us. Let us know the reason why you're removing us as this admins and really put in perspective why you did it. Like, I'm still waiting to see why that everything went the way it went. You know, CJ?
Yep.
It was kind of pointless because you didn't see eye to eye with me, or you didn't see eye to eye with
But anyone's got last thoughts before we end this never seen 17 episode?
Nope.
I think DJ said his piece, and I want to thank everyone for supporting and listening in tonight. And we will see you guys on the next episode.